Hi, welcome back for another fun tutorial where I will show you how to make a soap bag. Create a crocheted soap bag using sugar and cream 100% cotton yarn. I am using, I think it's their medium 4, and I prefer using cotton or wool for this. Preferably cotton or wool. You don't want any acrylic because acrylic is made out of plastic and you don't want that to seep into your skin. So I suggest sugar and cream, any 100% cotton or wool combos. So the items you will need are a 4mm crocheted hook, a optional stitch marker, a large eye sewing needle. So large eye is that this is big enough for you to put your yarn in. And then, of course, a pair of scissors. So if you have all these items, let's get started. To begin, we are going to need to create a slip knot. So let me show you how I do it. So I grab the small tail, I'll yarn over twice, I'll come through the back, over the middle, all the way to this side, like this. It should look like this. Just pull this one all the way through, and then let everything go and tighten. And there's your slip knot. And then from here, we are going to chain 13. So to chain 13, we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, and do this 13 times. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Should look like this. When we finish those 13 chains, we are going to single crochet, not into the same stitch, not this one, but the next stitch. So this one. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, like this, yarn over, pull through both. That is your first single crochet. And then if you want, so that way you don't lose your place, we can add a stitch marker into that chain right here. So you can add your stitch marker and know where you did your first single crochet. And then we're going to do that all the way down. So continue single crocheting till we get to the last one over here. So continue single crocheting into every stitch, and it should start to look like this. Okay, so I've completed the single crochets all the way across. This is the last one, so we're gonna single crochet into there, and then once we did that, we're gonna rotate our yarn like this, and now we're gonna single crochet on this back side. So do another, so this last stitch that you did that single crochet on this side, flip it over and do another single crochet into that stitch. So there'll be 2 single crochets into that last stitch. And then on this side, we're going to work in this loop right here, the back loop right here, and start single crocheting on that side. So we're going to single crochet here. On this last one, do 2 single crochets, and then it'd be 1 single crochet all the way across on that opposite side. I am dragging my small tail with me now, because it will be easier for me just to cut it within the next few rows. If you don't drag your tail, you're going to want to start sewing it in the next couple rounds, because then you don't want to come back to it later. It might be a little hard to try to weave it in. So let's continue doing those single crochets on that back side till we get to our stitch marker. And if you're dragging along just like me, your little tail, this just becomes really easier, because it's already weaved in there, as you can see. And then I just got to snip it the next few rows. So now we came up to our stitch marker right here, and if you single crochet it all the way around like I did, you should have a total of 24 single crochets. And to know that is to count each V. 1, 2, 3, count them all the way across to the stitch marker, and you should have a total of 24. And then we're going to remove the stitch marker, and we are going to slip stitch into that chain. To slip stitch, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, there's 2 on your hook, and then just pull through again. And this is a slip stitch. So now from here, chain 1, and we could start round 2. For round 2, we are going to double crochet. So to double crochet, we are going to yarn over once, insert your hook into that same stitch right here, yarn over again, pull up that loop. Now you should have 3 on your hook. Yarn over, go through only the first 2. Then we still have 2. Yarn over and go through the last 2. This is your first double crochet. And from here, add your stitch marker. And now we're going to single crochet, or no, not single crochet, I'm sorry, double crochet into each stitch around. So we will double crochet into the next stitch and all the way around till we get over here. So 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around for round 2 with a total of 24 double crochets. If you guys completed the double crochets into each stitch all the way around like this, you should have a total of 24 double crochets all the way around. And now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round. So if you're here, you're not going to do a double crochet in this. This was our connector from round 1. So since this is our first stitch, we're going to slip stitch again into that one. So slip stitch and then chain 1, and you can remove your stitch marker. And you can go ahead again and just make sure that you have 24 all the way around, like so. And then for round 3, it's going to be the same as round 2. We're going to double crochet into that same stitch and all the way around again. So for row 3 to row 7, it's going to be the same thing. Double crochets all the way around for a total of 24. Okay, we're finishing up that row 3, so we did the same thing, double crocheted all the way around for a total of 24. And now we can slip stitch into the chain from the beginning. So slip stitch into there, chain 1, and now for round 4, so 1, 2, 3, for round 4 we're going to do the same thing. Double crochet into the same stitch and then double crochet all the way around. If you need any help on double crochets, single crochets, slip knots, anything like that, you can look through my videos. I have a few tutorials for that. And you can rewind this video if you want to see it slower, if you're a very beginner, or if you want to just go check out those videos and get more familiar with the stitches, you can also do that. And then it would make this really, really easy. We are finishing row 4. You should have the same double crochets all the way around for a total of 24. And we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round, like so, chain 1. And for row 5, continue the same process. Double crochet into the first stitch and all the way around. So do that for 5, 6, and 7, okay? Do that same repetition. Repeat for 5, 6, and 7, the same thing. And then I'll meet you back at the row of after the end of row 7, okay? Okay, if you guys are finishing up your row 7, it should start to look like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round. And then chain 1. And we're going to do one more row of double crochet. Okay, so for your 8th row, this is going to be the last row of double crochet. And we're going to do the same thing. Double crochet into the same stitch and in each stitch all the way around. Oops, losing my stitch marker. Okay, so continue that for this last round for row 8. And then we will be going back to single crochet. So let's finish this last round of double crochets. And depending on your yarn, like if it's the weight 4, then you want to go 8. But if it's a little bit thinner, you might want to go an extra row. So just depending on what yarn you're using, you may want to go an extra row of double crochets, because you want this just long enough for bar soaps. Now that I'm finishing up the round 8, we are going to do our slip stitch into the first stitch of that round. And then for row 9 and row 10, we are just, so chain 1, for row 9, we are going to insert our hook into the same stitch, and we're just going to create a single crochet. For rows 9 and 10, this is the same stitch for both 9 and 10, and doing it single crochet into the same stitch and in each stitch around for row 9 and 10. This will kind of seal off the top portion of our little bag. So like this. So single crochets all the way around for a total of 24 for row 9. We're finishing up that row 9, so now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round, chain 1, and this is our final round, round 10. So for round 10, we're going to single crochet into the same stitch and single crochet all the way around again for a total of 24 for round 10, and this is our last and final round for this little bag. So continue that, and I'll show you how to seal it off when I get over here. Okay, we're finishing up that row 10. So now we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch of that round. So slip stitch, and we're going to cut a little tail. And now we're going to yarn over and just pull it through and tighten. And this is how it will seal up our row 10. And now we're going to weave this little tail in. So get your little sewing needle. Oops. Get your little sewing needle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave back to the left a few times, probably 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll just run this across. Pull. And then we're going to do that again. We're going to come through again, through these stitches in between, make it sure it's nice and clean, crispy. Sure we're not digging in or pulling any yarn out. And then once I've done that, I can then get close enough to just cutting it. And now the little tail is hidden. Okay. So now what we need to do is create the tail to close up this bag that will help cinch it for when the bar soap is in there. So now to make our little rope, we are going to create a slip knot again. Oops. So leave a little tail. Create a slip knot. And we are going to chain 45. So chain until you reach the number 45. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. And to chain, you're just yarning over and pulling through. Yarning over and pulling through. Yarning over and pulling through. Make sure you have a total of 45. So making sure that you have 45 bees. You could sew it here and attach it to the bag if you want it like this. Or I like mine thicker. So what I'm gonna do after I did that 45, I'm not even gonna count. Just not into the same stitch, but the stitch next to it. So right here, I am going to complete a single crochet, and then into the next one, into the next ring, do another single, or the next stitch, do another single crochet. So it looks like this, and then I'm just going to single crochet all the way down to the end of the chain. So once you completed all your single crochets down here, I'll let you know what's next. Okay, showing you guys really quick, I'm like halfway-ish. So your single crochets should look like this. Okay, so when you're single crocheted, you're only doing it into that front loop of each chain. So we're single crocheting into that first little loop. See, so continue that. You're almost done. Okay, now we are on the last little stitch, so let's complete a single crochet into that last stitch, and then we're gonna leave a little tail. So I usually like to cut like approximately the same of my original tail, and then just yarn over and slip stitch like that. And then here I grab both tails, and I'll create 2 knots. Okay, so your little rope should look like this. And now grab your tapestry needle or your little sewing needle, and then attach both tails into there, so both at the same time. And now we're going to attach this to the bag. Now that we did this, I like this to be the front, where you can see the single crochets, not the back. See, it looks different. So this I like to use as the front. So now we're going to find where this is our joining right here. So we're going to attach it to the opposite side where there is no joining. So with your bag flap and the first double crochet top row, this is where I'm going to insert. I'm going to go through and then through a hole onto the other one with my needle, and then I'm going to drag this through like this. See? Okay, so once we did that first one, we're going to continue to do that all the way around. We're going to go through the bottom, and we're just going to pull like that, and just keep doing that all the way around in between the double crochets, just like that. And then making sure that this stays forward, because it could start to turn, and you don't want it to turn. You'd want it to stay straight, like so. So, and then when we get to the back right here, it's going to be like us jumping a few stitches, because this is our connector. So we're going to go over that. So don't go in here, go over that, and then start on this side. Just so you can see, so in the crease right here, we just went over to the other side, just like that. And then just continue it till we get to the front on this side. So just keep going through. And then we're going to do it one more time. Like this, because we want it just like this. There's one right here, but we're not going to go through that one. These will just be on this side like so. If you want to, you can. I usually don't. I like it like this. And this helps your basket to cinch together, or your bag to cinch together and have your little soap in it. So now, to seal this off, we are going to run the tail. So this is the beginning, or the front of the single crochets. We're going to flip it over and go through the back. So we're just going to get our tail. This could be a little difficult because we have 2 strands on. So if you want to just do one, like a strand each, like do it one strand instead of trying to do 2 at the same time, you can. I'm just going to try to do 2. And we're just going to keep going through the back end to hide the tail. You could do it probably like, I like to give it a little room. So I'll probably go up like halfway-ish, and then I'll come and cut it. Okay, so I went up a little more than halfway-ish. I ran that through the back, and now I'm just gonna snip it, and then it gets hidden in there. And now we have completed your soap bag. So when you put your bar of soap in here with these double crochets, it makes it to where it will get soapy enough, and the soap will seep through. This makes a great exfoliator, a great soap bag. Or like say, the little, when you have a bar soap and then it gets smaller and smaller and all the little ones go to waste, well, you'll throw them in here along with your new soap or your recurring soap, and you'll still be able to use it up. So this is why they're called soap savers, because they save your soap. So if you like this tutorial and it was fun and it was easy, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps my channel and it helps me bring new videos to you. On that note, have a good day, stay crocheting, and I'll see you on the next video.